Okay, so hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Um, well, in this video we're just going over the shareholders meeting held by Juventus basically yesterday. So Agnelli, Nedved, Cherubini was present but didn't speak. Arrivabene and Nedved spoke to the shareholders, and the shareholders also had the possibility to ask some questions and to basically address certain things. Well, a lot was said and a lot was also not said. And what was said by Agnelli especially, it didn't look that great. So yeah, I mean, some will see the positive things about it. I mean, it wasn't not everything was negative, but like the negative things just stood out to me. I'm just going over some things Agnelli said, and Nedved said, and also Arrivabene said, to get basically not a clear situation, but a more clearer situation on where we're going as a club moving forward. Especially with the summer transfer, this summer transfer window, and the next one in mind. So the first thing he said, Agnelli said, and I think it's very strange, he said we must return to the values dictated by the city of Turin. So work, sacrifice, discipline. Like, yeah, it's good. Like discipline, work, but to me, those are buzzwords. Like, it's the basic. You can have discipline, work, sacrifice, but if you don't have quality, it will only bring you to a certain point, and then it will stop. And I think we are at this point now where it will stop, because I think McCanny and players like that, not just just to pinpoint McCanny, but I think there is work and sacrifice, but it's as good as it gets. They cannot do better. It's that, and it's nothing more and nothing less. Like, or I hope it's nothing less, but nothing more. What you see is what you get. So that's what I'm basically saying. So I think that's a weird statement to make, like, especially when you're talking to shareholders, like people who have put money into the club, basically saying these things. Like, if I were to be a shareholder, I wouldn't be like hyped about it, or just come like, okay, we're going in the right direction by that quote. Again, you might say, oh, you're just basically complaining just for the sake about complaining, but moving forward into this video, you will see, you will hear some things that will make you think like twice. Then he was asked, like, what if you don't make the Champions League this season? And he said, in case we don't qualify for the Champions League, we would have to think about it, like what we will do. But he also said, but we would have alternatives. But I look at the statistic, and in the last 40 years, it only happened to us a couple of times. So I think in the back of his mind, he's already preparing in case we don't make top four. And I don't know what he means by alternatives, or like, I don't know what he means. I know what he means, and that's selling players, and we will get there later in the video. I think we are going back to, I would say, 2014, 15, where we were just selling big players every season. Again, the pandemic didn't help us, so it's not just Agnelli and Paratici and all, but bad decisions have been made over the course of the last 3 years. Like, there is no clear plan, no clear strategy, no identity. Like, where are we going as a club? Like, it's just very unclear at the moment, and that's the reality. It's unclear at the moment, and to this day, I still have no idea where the club is going. Like, where? Because one time you hear we want young players, etc., and then you hear we're going for Witsel. So I think we're in a stage where we just need to have opportunities, and Witsel will be an opportunity, but it doesn't fit the way the club wants to go, young, Italian, and things like that. So they're stuck between two things at the moment, and again, that's not a clear strategy in my opinion. But moving forward, because he said a lot of things, he went on saying, and that's like, he was asked a lot of questions about the Super League. Again, I don't want to get into that, but he said there's loyalty on the part of those who refuse to reform. I don't want to give up. I won't give up. The system needs a change, and Juventus will be part of it. But I reiterate that only through constructive dialogue can we arrive at a change that satisfies everybody. And he also say, I challenge anyone to confirm to me that the current system of professional football is satisfactory. I heard everybody complaining. Surprising that so far any attempt to reform everything has been shelved. So he's basically taking some shots to teams that have pulled out of the Super League, claiming football needs reform. Again, like, do we have an idea on how football needs to go? Like, we just see the outside and the buzz numbers, like, oh, if you win the Champions League, you get that. Like, but behind the scenes, how the money is basically spent, and the only thing we know is the UEFA keeps a lot of money away from the clubs. Basically, the clubs bring in the money because we fans watch our clubs play, and they only get basically a little piece of the pie. And I think that's the biggest problem these teams have. They want to basically control their own money, so control their own sponsors. Some, like, let's say 100 million, just 1 billion is coming in, and they want to say to UEFA, you can keep 20% of it. Like, we decide what we keep, we decide how we will divide the money and stuff like that. I think that's the biggest issue at the moment. But again, we don't know much. It's only what we get told or what some media leak and stuff like that. But even then, it's just basically we know nothing. So again, he was asked questions about it. I don't want to go into it. The Super League stuff, it happened. I don't know how it will finish. I'm just here for what he said about on the club moving forward, because he said some, I don't know, some weird things, I would say. And then he said the Juventus investment plan proposed in 2019 was credible and would have brought its effects now after a period of losses, but it's clear that some things have changed and we must now return to credibility. So what he means, in 2019, the plan was to basically invest in a new stadium for the women's team, the U23s, but especially invest in the team. And the plan was, like everybody knows, was to bring Pogba back. Like, the club was willing to pay 100 million euros before. So if the pandemic didn't happen, they would have paid 100 million euros in that summer to bring Pogba back. And that would be, excuse me, that would be the investment plan also. Just off the field, but also on the field, spend the money and improve the team by not selling players. So not selling De Ligt and bring in Pogba or something like that. Like, the plan was to really invest the team. Again, the pandemic happened, and that's, like, nobody can basically do anything about it. It happened. So I will not blame the club for that. What I will blame for them, that the last years are a bit hectic. It seems like they have no idea what they want. Then they want Sarri, then they don't want Sarri, then they want Pirlo, then Agnelli says it's enough, now I will decide. It's like, who's in control? Like, you have 3-4 people, and each of them have a different view on how the club should move forward. And that can never be, that's a recipe for what we are seeing now. Like, not a disaster, but a mess. Like, if you're with 4 people and every one of them wants something else, then it's gonna be a mess in the long road. It's only normal. So yeah. Again, at this moment in time, I don't see what the plan is. They say young, Italian, and these type of things, sell on value. Let's see. Then he was asked, is this the most difficult moment in your career, basically? And he said, no, it's difficult, but the most difficult one was when I arrived in 2010. And I think he's right. Like in 2010, it was worse. We were nobody. Like we were in the gutter. And since then, a lot of work has been done. But that doesn't mean like we should accept mediocrity at the moment. Like we should not lower our standards. And I don't think he's lowering his standards. But at the moment, everything is being lowered. The quality of the team, the expectations, you can see it. Like people were just talking about making top four. Like that would be insane 2 seasons ago. Talking about just making top four. It's November in one day, and we are talking about just making top four. So the standards are being lowered. The quality, everything is going down at the moment, and like that's not good. So it's a difficult period. Then he also said, and that's basically the title of the video. He was asked FFP, and he says, as far as the upcoming season, so 22-23 is concerned, there's no problem. But as far as the next season, so 23-24 is concerned, we will have to evaluate it well and understand what the new approaches will be. And that's the title. Basically, sell to buy. And that's what I said a few minutes ago. I think we're moving back to 2015-16, where we were just selling our big players to reinvest in other players. And that's what he's saying. Like, moving forward, like 2000, he's already talking about not this summer mercato, what's coming, the next one. And he already knows, like, we need to do, in these 2 seasons, coming 2 years, we need to do smart deals, and we might have to sell a big player to balance the books and reinvest and stuff like that. So that's why the title of the video is sell to buy, because I think we will need to sell to buy. That's the situation we are in now, and I think with this comment he made that clear that we're gonna need to sell players before we can even think about improve this squad drastically. And that's something no fan wants to hear at this point. So yeah, let's see how everything will evolve over the coming months. I think more things will become clear, more things will come out about transfers, about players potentially moving, and then you will get a clearer picture of the situation. But it doesn't look great. Like I know Julian say he thinks we have money in the summer. I don't, unless we sell players. So then Nedved was asked about basically his outburst after the Swallow game. I think everybody saw that video. And he said, because the criticism of the talks was like, he's in a job because he's a Lakers friend, he's a puppet. And so he said, you can't have such a prestigious role just because I'm a friend of the president. There are justified criticism. I haven't always had the best behavior. It's part of my character. I will always give my all for this club until the last day. I said it before. That's not fair. I think he did worse last season, yelling at the referee during the break and stuff like that. I agree. I think he needs to basically quit doing that. It doesn't look great. Like week in, week out, it doesn't reflect good on the team. Like it shows a weakness to me. It shows a disconnect within the club to me. But I get its frustration. But then again, he co-signed a lot of these things, so it's a bit strange to me. So yeah, that's what he was asked, and he responded with this. And then he also said, 2 years ago we changed the team a bit, trying to rejuvenate it, knowing that the only thing that counts is winning. We know what we have to do. This club has winning in its DNA. That's what I was saying a few minutes ago. I think the plan is to bring in younger players with a resale value, but then you hear things like Witsel. So they're caught between two fires. Like, yeah, they want to do one thing, but do we have the capacities money-wise to do that thing? And I don't think we have. I think that's pretty clear with all based on these comments. So yeah, it's a bit, they're a bit contradicting themselves at this point. He also said on this season it's all difficult to talk about objectives at the moment. We must think about one match at a time. We must try to recover positions. There are a lot of games to go and we can easily catch up. Yeah, I don't agree. I agree with, I don't know, yeah, I mean the objective is top 4, but even that, it's a bit dodgy. And then we can easily catch up. I don't agree at all. But, that's what he needs to say. He cannot say we're done at here. We're done at here. So yeah, it's just generic in my opinion. And then the last one was Arrivabene, and he said the Ronaldo deal has brought benefits in terms of sport, image, and has been an important asset for the Italian football system. The departure of Ronaldo will trigger other considerations. And again, yeah, it benefited us off and on the field. I think, again, the pandemic messed that a bit up. Him leaving a year early messed that up. It ended in a mess. So it helped us, of course, off the field, sponsor-wise and things like that. So, but yeah, I think the coming seasons will be very difficult to basically go back to, I would say, normality, like the way we operated before. And that's something he needs to basically oversee because he's the money guy now. So, yeah. And then he also said, because he was asked about dinner meetings for Locatelli, like every day there was a new meeting, and he was asked, there was criticism of our market, but it was too quickly forgotten what the financial situation of the club was, which I agree on. I said it at the time, like, we are screwed money wise. We don't have money. So I understood why they kept dragging the Locatelli deal out that long, because at the end of the day they got a good deal out of it, structure right, like payment structure wise. But the flip side of it is Locatelli just arrived a few days before the season started, so he didn't have a preseason to integrate in the team, and I think we are seeing that at the moment, that he's not fully integrated. Like, he can do much more, and not having a preseason under a new coach with new teammates didn't help at all. So, like, on one hand, I understand why it took so long, and on the other hand, like, it's not good it took so long. Basically, for results wise, for money wise, it probably, yeah, it was a good deal. But just looking at what will happen on the field, it wasn't the best thing we could have done. So that's it. Basically, what they said. They also said more things. I left that out because it was all generic and stuff. At the end of the day, my conclusion is the coming 2 seasons are going to be very, very difficult. I think we will sell important players. In my opinion, will be De Ligt. Maybe next season, not the next summer, so not the coming summer. If we don't make top 4, it will happen this summer for sure. And not just money-wise, but also because Raiola will just get him out of there. So let's see how everything will evolve. It's still very early in the season, even though the situation doesn't look great for us. A lot of fans are just down at the moment. So, again, still early, but the early basically projections and going off the words, it doesn't look that great. It's not the end of the world at the moment, but it's not looking very good. That's all I want to say. So again, as always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Just what do you think? Is the league or players, do we need to sell those players to reinvest? Or do you think things will change? Like, they will do smart deals. They will hit gold like they did with Pogba and Vidal back in the day. Let me know in the comments.